This is Flipping Junkie Podcast, episode 104. Welcome to the Flipping Junkie Podcast, the podcast for flip pilots everywhere. Flip pilots are the house flippers that work more on our business instead of in our business by keeping a 30,000-foot view. You're now part of this small group of house flippers that considers themselves flip pilots, that strive to build a life of financial freedom and time freedom so that we can spend more time doing what we love with who we love. In this podcast, I give you a glimpse of the daily life of a flip pilot. So let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flipping Junkie Podcast. I've got a good friend, Marco Romero, and his wife, Hilary, on the show today. It's going to be a great episode. We're going to be talking about building a team and the hiring process so that you're not looking at 1,000 resumes and making your head spin. You've got like a defined process to be able to weed out people automatically and hire the people that fit your culture, your organization, and who you want to work with. So you guys have a great time working together. It's going to be a great episode. Thank you for tuning in. And before we get started, it's amazing to me still, after doing a podcast for so long, this is episode 104 now, there's still a lot of people listening out there that don't know that we also run Lead Propeller real estate investor websites, and that Lead Propeller provides websites, but also services, okay? And it just blows me away. I guess I don't talk about it enough because I don't want it to be like I'm just advertising all the time, but we also run managed PPC, so AdWords campaigns, Facebook marketing campaigns, and managed SEO to get your website to rank at the top of the search results. We have all of that in-house, running dozens of accounts for the top investors across the country. If you want to find out more about that, I urge you to go to leadpropeller.com and then click on the services navigation button at the top, and you'll find out more about exactly what we offer and how we do it and whether it's available where you are if you want to get started with that. So check that out. Go to leadpropeller.com and then click on the services tab at the top on the navigation menu. All right, thank you for joining me. Let's get into it. All right, today I've got my friend Marco and his wife Hilary with me today. Marco Romero and Hilary Romero. Hilary and Marco got married and became pregnant in 2015. Marco, it's amazing that you became pregnant. I don't know how you did it. In an effort to build the future, they both wanted their family, and they both quit their jobs that same year. This is kind of worded weird. I didn't read it first.
We had a lot of changes happening all at once, but it was exciting. It was a little scary, but very exciting at the same time.
Yep. I say that the pregnancy was 50-50, but
he loves to say that, and it just annoys me because there was nothing 50-50 about any of it.
I think it annoys everyone, I tell. But it makes me feel better, like I did something.
I think that's funny. Yeah, that's awesome. Since then, they have built the real estate portfolio and built a wholesaling company that closes numerous transactions every single month. With a team of 6 people in their company, Hilco Homes, they look to grow strong in 2018. So thanks so much, you guys, for joining me today on the Flipping Junkie Podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
It was it's our pleasure, and on our goals, number 1 podcast to get on was Flipping Junkies. So
nice,
helping us accomplish our goals too.
Did you write that after you were already going to be on it?
Actually, before.
Cool. I didn't know that. All right, so I wanted to talk with you guys about how you built your team up for wholesaling. And I get your emails. I'm on your list, so I see the deals that you guys are putting out there, and they're great deals. And there's quite a few of them that come through. So I know you guys are doing a lot of business because you're in San Antonio as well, for everybody listening out there. And Marco and I have known each other for a long time, probably, 8 years maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Been a while.
Yeah. And so you guys have built up this company and this team that allows you to be able to spend time with your family and then also pursue other interests. And so I wanted to talk with you guys and have you share sort of how you got started in flipping houses and then how you progressed to build the team and how that whole process worked out.
You want to go into our initial story?
Well, just a quick summary of our story is when I met Marco, I didn't really know anything about real estate other than I loved watching HGTV, but I didn't really know much about it. And when I met Marco, he was wholesaling by himself, just doing it on his own. And I did not know what wholesaling was or if it was legal or anything about it. I just was like, you're doing what? You're just laying in bed and you're just texting a lot. I don't understand. So I didn't understand.
I wasn't laying in bed that much.
Well, just doing whatever he wanted while I had to go to work. So I was like, what is this? He's doing so much. And so then he ended up taking a job with a local investment firm here doing real estate investing. And I had just a regular job doing project management. And then that was 2015. And he proposed on my birthday, which is July 1st. And then we knew we were going to have a very quick engagement. And we scheduled our wedding for at the end of September. And on our wedding night, we got pregnant. So everything happened like really fast. But backing up a little bit, I had already given like a 3-month notice to quit my that job. And after the wedding was the honeymoon, and I had already quit my job, so I didn't have anything to go back to. And
the plan was for her to quit, and then we would go on the honeymoon. So it was like officially take a mental break, everything.
And I could just enjoy doing that and not having to worry about going back to work.
And like she mentioned, I had been wholesaling independently for a while, but I was wholesaling so much, like I was selling a lot of my properties to a local company here in town. Mm-hmm. And so much so that they asked me to run their acquisition team. And I was running a team of up to 9 guys at one point. And so I had an actual position there. So at that time, we had determined that, hey, babe, go ahead and quit. I'll focus, I have this job, I'll focus on that, and I'll support us. And then we went on our honeymoon.
And on our honeymoon, we were laying by the pool. We went to the Bahamas, and we were laying by the pool, and Marco was reading Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, and I just remember, I'll probably always remember this moment when he put his book down, looked at me, and just said, I think I want to quit too, and I think we should do this investing full time. And this was like in October, because we took our honeymoon a month later, so got married at the end of September, took our honeymoon in late October. And I was very excited, but scared. I had already found out I was pregnant. We only knew for maybe 5 days before we took the honeymoon.
Oh,
so
man. This was an all-inclusive honeymoon.
It was all alcohol included, and I couldn't drink any of it. So it was just like.
I guess Marco got to drink a lot on that one.
He's not much of a drinker. So he drank a little bit, but he didn't like rub it in my face or anything. But yeah, so it was just like all these changes. Like I quit my job. We just got married. We just found out we were pregnant, and then Marco wanted to quit his job, but I was really excited. So after that honeymoon, he had like 1 month left of work. He gave his notice, left around Thanksgiving. And then we had December with holidays and family time, just kind of starting to figure out put all the pieces together for the full 2016 year. And we just kind of took off running. Right. That's just like a quick backstory. Everything happened very quickly.
Yeah. And for me, I had been in real estate for quite some time at this point. I personally have been a part of over 350 transactions. When I was working at that company, we did over 125 deals in 1 year. So I had been a part of a lot of transactions, a lot of deals, but I had never really focused on my own investments. I had done some here and there, partnered with some people, but that was never the priority, even though I was around that all the time. And so when I was reading that book, I kind of reflect on the fact that I was putting myself back in the position of working for someone else rather than building my own portfolio, becoming the investor. And now that our whole life was changing, I was married and we had a baby on the way, I wanted to focus on building something together that would be furthering our own future, where we can eventually control our own time and build our own funds and money as well. So then that's what we did.
It kind of just felt like now or never, especially with the child on the way. It's like everyone gets stuck in the security of having a real job with a paycheck and consistent, just consistent stability. But it really was just now or never. And it was exciting for us to just do it together.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say something about. It's, you got married, found out you were going to have a baby. You just quit your job. Marco's talking about quitting his. I think at the time where you would most want stability, and then all this sort of but like you said, you guys had, you knew about the business. It wasn't like it was, something that you didn't know what was involved.
I had to put a lot of blind faith in Marco. I mean, I know he's one of the smartest people I've ever met, I know I'm in good hands.
You're the smartest I am.
I know I'm in good hands, but I didn't know anything about it. So I had to really like focus on learning. I had to do a lot of book reading. I read some of the books that Marco's been telling, he started with like Rich Dad Poor Dad. I had to really dive in feet first and like just learn as much as I can just so I don't completely go crazy worrying about how are we going to make money. And
now she knows more than most investors.
So how was that though? Because I know whenever I got into it and I couldn't talk about it enough, right? That's all I wanted to talk about. That's all I wanted to read and learn about. Did you feel that way too? Or did you feel like it was more of an obligation to understand everything? Or was there a real passion there to know as much as you could?
For me, it's hard when we just have conversation. When Marco and I would have conversations at the beginning, and he'd tell me all the ways that this would work. It's hard for me. I have to actually see it drawn out, like visually see it. So there are a lot of times where we would have to sit down, and he'd have to show me how cash flow is how when you put in X amount of money, or all the different numbers that go into a deal with ARV and equity and cash flow and the loan payment. All these things, it really didn't make sense for a while. Like he had to keep telling me over and over again. And I kind of honestly just had to like take a step back and not be so worried about it. But then we got our first 1 or 2 deals and that worked out. And then we did the second, third. So it was like a gradual, as time progressed, things made more and more sense, especially with my understanding just in general with being fully immersed in this world. Things just started to slowly make sense to me. And now, we're like starting our 3rd year now, and time's flown by so quickly. And we really have come a long way with all of the deals we've done. So I definitely have complete faith now that we're on the right track, and we just try and work hard.
Top, baby.
We just try and work hard as much as we can.
Congrats. No, it's amazing. And I hear what you're saying, where there's a lot to know and to understand how all of that works together. It takes going through those deals, right? And actually seeing it and then seeing, okay, well, that makes sense now that I'm at that position where I'm actually dealing with that kind of thing.
Right. When you start seeing the money come in, that's helpful. Because before you have deals and it's like this idea of like, well, we should be getting money. But until you actually start seeing the money come in, and now the cash flow is getting more, or each month you're raising your cash flow because you have more properties. It just makes more sense. So I have complete faith in what we're doing now. It definitely took a lot of conversations between us to get me there. But granted, he has like 10 years on me. So, I'm learning the best that I can, but yeah.
No, that's cool. You guys are working together. So do you guys ever get sick of talking about real estate?
She definitely does.
Well, because right now we're not in really a position where, now we have flexibility, but we still have to work a lot. We work all the time. And Marco, I typically will stop working at a certain point, but Marco will be laying in bed working until we go to bed.
Laying in bed again.
On the weekend, so it's...
Yeah, there's a lot of laying in this conversation. I do walk around from time to time. I'm not laying down on the ground.
I would say Marco, like out of the day, Marco's working like 95% of the day. Maybe more. And so there are definitely times where I will go crazy. I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. We need to go spend time as a family. But yeah, it's mostly real estate in this house, or in our house.
That's our partnership. She brings balance. She brings like the other side of life. I'm very like robotic, and I have focus. So
his focus is 100% work, and I'm like, well, we have a child, so we need to do things together as a family.
She rounds me out, and then vice versa. I help in focusing on us on our goals and our planning and what we need to be working on in those items. So.
Yeah, it's important to have that. I agree. So whenever you guys, you were reading that book, you guys were on a honeymoon, you came back, and what was the plan? So, you were transitioning out of working for the other investment company. What was your plan? Did you lay it out with who you wanted to hire and sort of when and what order? Or was it more just, let's focus on getting the deals ourselves first?
So what had occurred was the honeymoon was what, like September, October?
The honeymoon was like the middle of October. He doesn't even remember.
October, and then I said I would quit in November. So our plan was just to focus on the holidays, to spend time with family, and then kind of hit the ground running January 2016. Line up with the new year, those type of things. We had some savings at that point that we were planning to live on to kind of get us through this transition. And we basically had two focuses. One is that we wanted to generate cash flow. Cash flow is what our number one focus, and that's what we plan on retiring ourselves on. So we wanted to get properties that we could either rent or own or finance out. But even if you get a house that you can rent and you're cash flowing $200 a month, that ain't going to pay the bills. So the second focus was generating active income that we could live on, and that was through wholesaling. So it was a combination of trying to acquire properties that we could cash flow whenever those opportunities came around, but in the meantime, be wholesaling whatever we can wholesale to be able to maintain our livelihood.
Right.
So we started Bella Buyers, that's the name of our company for the rental properties, the cash flow, and then we started Hilco Homes as our wholesaling company. And initially it was just Hilary and I, and again, I had been a wholesaler before, but I had been removed from wholesaling for roughly about a year and a half or so at this point. So I had no pipeline, I didn't have any leads, I basically had to start over. So the first deal that we did from a wholesale standpoint came from MLS. I just went back to my old school ways and looked for areas of leverage. Where could I get leads quickly? The first one came from MLS. And then we just started wholesaling ourselves. The way that we ended up starting building a team came when a gentleman by the name of Juan had reached out to me probably around June or something at this point, right?
Yeah.
Around June of that year, 2016, because he had worked at my old job, or at the old company I was at. They had let him go, and he just kind of reached out to me for just guidance, how could he was in the real estate realm because of the position he was in, and since they let him go, he really liked real estate and still wanted to delve into that. And so that relationship cultivated, and he started doing, I was like, okay, I'll show you how to do deals. You can help us do deals. We'll figure out a split. And it just started out with a 50-50 split where he did most of the work and I did most of the guidance, support, and teaching. And that's how we got the first person involved.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
True.
Right.
And we brought on a systems guy who manages our CRM and reporting and all the leads that we drop out for mailers. And we've just slowly been growing. I mean, we could hire a bunch of people, but our focus is on finding the quality people that really will fit with us long term. So we've refined all of our systems and processes. And so with recruiting, we really kind of figure out if this person's going to work out or not.
Right. We're actually up to 7 people now with the virtual assistant, and we have an 8th person that we're bringing on next week. So, and to get to this point, take last year as an example, 2017, we probably had 6 people that we tried to bring on our team
that didn't work out.
So it's a constantly evolving thing. Some people are going to stick, other people won't. And we've refined our hiring process. So now the people that we're bringing in are much better fits than what we did initially.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the lessons learned from that, having to hire and let people go? Because I know it's pretty painful to do. What are some lessons learned, and what have you guys done to your process to try to eliminate those problems?
So one of our big things is just, I guess we've just recently as a team decided not to hire good people. We want to hire great people. So we also don't want to hire just to fill seats and bring, we really just want to hire the quality people. In the past, we've required people to submit a resume, but I realize that's kind of an outdated system. People will fluff their resume up to make it look better and whatever, and I don't really care about that. So we've kind of eliminated that from our process. Instead, we do a video resume. We have 3 questions. Give us a video from 2 to 5 minutes, because I feel like we're a pretty good judge of characters, even in something super quick like that. And so,
well, Hilary runs our hiring department. So Hilary is great at judging individuals, and if they can make it through Hilary, then
so what happens is they submit a video and like a pre-screen form with questions filled out. If Juan and I look at those, because we do it together, if we look at the video, look at the questions they've answered, and then decide that person might go to the next spot, then Juan conducts an interview with them first. If Juan at that point feels they're worth pushing through to me, then I have the final interview. But at any point, I can veto Juan's decision. I can basically say, no, like, don't even waste your time. We're not going to move forward with them. So it's been a process of evolving the whole process in general.
So some of the learning lessons that we've had through this process was, number one, we needed to build a system around hiring. If we wanted to not only scale, but create repeatability in the sense of repeatedly hiring quality individuals, then we needed to have a system in place. The way we started was I would talk to somebody and be like, okay, great, let's join. But now I remove myself completely from the equation, and there's, the other team members are involved in making that decision, which empowers them, but also creates a system to where there's communication and there's multiple checkpoints that need to be reached for somebody to get through. We've also learned a few other lessons, such as be slow to hire and quick to fire. And by doing that, then we can basically make sure we're not hiring people that are going to waste our time, or we put a lot of energy in documentation, training, setting them up, bringing in the system, they're not going to work out anyway. And then the other thing too, specifically, and this might not work for other businesses, but in the realm of wholesaling, our people, and the people we're mainly hiring are individuals that are talking to sellers, talking to buyers, constantly negotiating. In this world, there's tons of objection, there's tons of rejection, and you have to be able to have thick skin and be able to push through those objections. So we've designed our hiring process that through each step at each interview, we actually kind of challenge them and tell them, because of this reason, dude, you might be too young, we're not sure you're a good fit, or you might be too old, we don't think you're a good fit. Really, we can make up a reason.
Or I just don't think you have what it takes.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the Fight Club thing. You make them wait on your porch.
Yeah, exactly.
With the broom and stuff like that.
Because we want to see, are they going to respond? Are they going to deal with the objection? Because this is mild compared to what they'll see on the other side. So we've designed it to where there's a lot of challenges to make it through our process. But if they can make it through our process, then there's a high likelihood that they're going to make it in this business, and this is going to be a good fit for them, but also a good fit for us by integrating them into our team.
Mm-hmm.
Great. No, that's smart. I like that. How do you guys ever do personality tests? Do you do discs or anything like that?
It's funny that you just asked that, because one of our end of the year goals was to have everyone in our team do personality tests. And after everyone did it, we had like a deadline where everyone had to complete it. And then we kind of just spent one of our meetings talking about each person's personality, the weaknesses, the strengths. 4 of us on the team that are all the same. We're consuls, so we're very organized.
What website did you use?
I don't remember. See, I think it's 16personalities.com or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's 4 of us are the same. 4 of us are like very organized, more emotional, whatever. And then the rest are all kind of different. And so we kind of bring different strengths and weaknesses to the table.
My personality is I'm stubborn. And that's got to be a lie, right?
No, it's true. Because at the beginning, when we first started dating, he was like, I don't do all these certain things. And I'm like, you're going to have to learn to just change that, because I won't take that.
Like I said, she rounds me out.
That's great. And Tony Robbins has a free disc profile that you can fill, and I really like that one too, because it talks about how to work with the people too, based on those personality traits. And that's a real fun thing to do, is like what you said, is go around with the whole team and talk about how, each other's strengths and weaknesses and just how they, interact. And it's pretty eye-opening too, when you read them and then you say, do you feel like that's you? And sometimes people will say, well, I don't think so. And everybody in the room is going, no, that's exactly you. Like, so some people don't even see, when they actually act like that, and then to read it and don't believe it. And everybody else says, no, that is spot on. But, so how do you fill that funnel though for the hiring? How are you guys, are you using Indeed or using Craigslist? What are you finding success with?
Experimented with different recruiting places. So we paid for LinkedIn, and like I said, we had a lot of response on LinkedIn, but a lot of the LinkedIn people are more professional, and they don't really want to go from a salary paying job to commission. So while we got a really good response rate on LinkedIn, we didn't find any real serious candidates because we're just in a different spectrum, I guess. Like, we are strictly commission based, and a lot of people just can't do that, or they're counting on that paycheck. So we kind of switched our experiments. Right now, we found the most success on Facebook job posting, and Facebook job posting is free. So that's kind of where we're stuck with right now, is we're just on Facebook. We have done Craigslist in the past. We got Juan from Craigslist. Well, they did back when he was working with Mark at the other company. And then we have considered ZipRecruiter, which we haven't done either. They have a bigger budget, or it's more costly per month. So we were kind of just trying to do other experimental places and options before we went that route.
Yeah, Facebook's worked really well. We also have just focused on our Facebook business page and providing a lot of content there in the realm of wholesaling, just giving out free information. We actually host a show every Friday that's called Ask Wholesale, and people can ask questions about wholesaling, and my team and sometimes guests will answer those questions. And we just try and put a lot of content out there, and we found that in combination with the job postings has brought a lot of attention to us, and people see our activity and see that we're in real estate, we're wholesaling, and that's something that they want to do, and they kind of like our personalities, and that's also helped in people reaching out to us to join our team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Yeah, because they're looking more at what you guys are doing and being excited about it and wanting to work, in that industry with you guys, with your personalities, and you attract them. And yeah, I could see that being a lot better than just somebody submitting blindly to a bunch of places and seeing who responds.
Right.
Where they don't really even know what you do or how you do it. They just want a job.
Yeah.
Whereas you got somebody that's like, man, I really want to work with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So how often, so when you do a job posting like that, and you have people do a video interview, obviously that probably cuts down on a lot of people that are like, I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
How many interviews do you end up with? How many videos do you guys end up with typically?
I mean, we just implemented this, like a month, maybe 2 ago.
Yeah.
And I've already had like at least 5 video resumes submitted. And some of them, we just haven't even proceeded with an interview. They just honestly, just based, like he said, you can judge character fairly easily with somebody. There was one that I was like, oh no, this person's not going to fit with us at all. And then there were a couple where
She keeps it real. She keeps it real.
Then there were a couple
picking their nose or something.
No, they just seemed like the stereotypical millennial, where they just think that they're amazing. And I'm like, you don't really have anything to show for it. So like, you just need to come down to earth a little bit and not act like you're everything. And like, we're grateful that you're interviewing. So I just want like a genuine person who's hardworking, committed, loyal, completely wanting to understand this business, get completely involved with wholesaling, really.
And we're like she said, we've received about 5 video resumes, but we've had a lot more people that respond in general or reached out to us, way more than the 5. I don't know how much, but I know there's been a good amount. But again, like I mentioned, we've designed our system to have a lot of filters. So the fact that they have to submit us a video resume knocks out a lot of people, because they have to set up the time, put their phone or their camera or wherever, their laptop, actually take the time to answer the questions we've pre-established, save it, upload it, send it to us, that kind of thing. So if they're willing to do that, then okay, great. They're committed to it. So there's a lot of people that will respond, and then, that's a good test. Are they willing to do the work?
And I like that. I don't want 1 million interviews every month, because one, we don't have the capacity to bring on so many people, but two, again, we're not looking for good people. We're looking for great people. So I don't want to just fill seats just to say, oh, we have this huge company now. That's not what I want to do. I want to fill the seats slowly and make sure we're putting the right people in there. So I'm okay with the smaller number of people who actually take the time to submit a video resume. And then from there, like we said, if they don't meet qualifications on that, or there's another form that they fill out, just some basic questions. Have you ever done commission work? Do you have other jobs you're doing right now? That sort of thing. If there's any red flags within that questionnaire, then we might not even give them the interview with Juan. So
actually, we just did that today.
We just did that today. This guy seemed great. His video, he seems like a likable guy. He could fit in nicely with us, but currently he has a full-time job. And one of the questions on the questionnaire said, are you willing to work 40 plus hours a week for Hilco? And if not, what would be holding you back? And he said, well, I have a full-time job. That would hold me back. And I'm like, well, until you're ready to make Hilco your priority, I don't think this is going to work out. I don't want to even mess with our interview if it's just going to be a waste of time. So we had that meeting earlier today. And
so we have a lot of filters to get quality people, and it works on our side too, so we don't waste our time.
Yeah, no, that's great. I've been hiring a lot lately too, and man, like the days of looking at resume after resume after resume, and after a while you just kind of scan and hope you catch certain things. It's really hard to spend the time to really analyze those things. So if you have people just, screening themselves out through the process, that eliminates that. So when you do get a good one, you can really look at the resume and understand their experience. But it doesn't sound like you guys, do you look at the resume? Like you don't start with that, but after they submit one, do you eventually look at a resume, or you don't ever look?
We don't ever look at the traditional resume anymore. We used to collect them, and I just don't care. A lot of it's filler, whatever they can put on it. We just don't, our resume is the video resume now. It's really just a video intro to who you are and why you want to be in real estate.
Right. Keep in mind, what is the position that we are hiring for? Mainly it's people that are communicating with sellers, communicating with buyers, getting contracts. And these are typically people that have like an entrepreneurial streak to them, or are trying to become investors in the long term themselves. And the traditional criteria of, do you have your bachelor's, do you have your master's, what kind of schooling did you have, all the typical things you see, your expertise is in Microsoft Word, all that kind of stuff doesn't matter to us. Mm-hmm. What matters to us is, do you fit in our culture? Will you bring value to our team? And conversely, can we bring value to you? Can we help you accomplish your goals? And are you willing to put in the work, put in the hustle, and do what it takes to help yourself get ahead, but also help us get ahead? And if there's a mutual beneficial relationship here, and you're going to be an additive to our team and fit well with the other team members, we can all play nice together, then it doesn't matter if you quit in third grade. It doesn't matter.
No, I agree, and that's good that you brought up that point, because it is more of a fit and a personality thing than it is experience before. So what are some of your favorite, because you try to determine cultural fit, so what are some of your favorite questions to determine that, or ways to determine cultural fit, other than just gut feeling?
Well, in each interview, like we mentioned, Juan does the first interview. He's like our manager now. And then Hilary has the final interview. Each interview has its own set of questions that we make sure to cover. But additionally, the interview itself is going to naturally evolve based on where the conversation goes, those type of things. Some of the key factors that we want to fit is kind of like what I mentioned previously. They need to have either sales experience or real estate experience. We really don't want to start with somebody that has neither. If you have one, then we can help you with the other. Okay, it makes our training process simpler and easier. Number two, They need to be somebody that is willing to work hard, have an element of hustle. There's a lot of people that think they work hard and they do their 9 to 5, 40-hour work week, but half the time they're drinking coffee and checking out Facebook and those type of things. We need hustlers in essence. So, how do they respond to us? How quickly do they get the video to us? Are they punctual on the interview? All these are telltale signs. How do they envision themselves now, like their self-image? But also, how do they see themselves into the future? Do they have goals established for themselves? Typically, the people that will ask them, what are your goals? And they say they don't have any or they haven't thought about it, usually aren't good fits. They haven't taken the time to reflect on themselves and the future they want to create for themselves. Those type of things. And then just a good personality. Can they laugh at jokes? Do they like to, do they have a casual element to them? Not in the sense that they won't get work done, but that, hey, we can have a joke with each other and have a good conversation, and there's depth to their personality. Those type of things.
We work hard, but we do try and have fun too as a team.
We just went bowling.
We do bowling. We've done Top Golf. We have quarterly lunches. We always have something going on in the future to kind of just motivate and inspire our team members to continue to work hard. I mean, we want to have a fun culture and atmosphere in our company.
Yeah. We saw who were the good bowlers and who were the terrible ones.
Funny enough, I'm the only female so far in this company, and I actually wasn't the worst bowler.
That's right.
I did better than some people, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
That's right.
Yeah, I think we went bowling for the Christmas party for the flipping team. And I don't know. I think maybe one person broke 100 maybe. But that was, we were there having dinner and some drinks and stuff first. So
that's fun.
That was
doing trick shots between the legs and
and try to launch it halfway down the lane before it hits the No, it was an interesting place though, because I guess it's one of those things where you can get these lanes set up in different places for a little bit cheaper. The way the pin setting is handled is that the pins are actually attached to ropes. It's really weird. And you hit them and they fall over, and then it all kind of picks them up and drops them back down. But one of them never really landed in the spot it was supposed to be. It would just be all kind of off a little bit. So anyway. There's a place in New Braunfels and it was kind of cool. But that one weird pen wasn't cool. But so did you guys start, with culture a lot of times, you start with the vision for the company and then the mission and core values and kind of make that a part of the hiring process. Did you guys do the same thing? Have you done that yet?
When we first started, no. Even though that's fundamental. All the books talk about that. I think we took that more seriously as we tried to take growing more seriously, and we also saw that our hiring process was ineffective.
It was not working.
We were trying to bring on a lot of people that didn't work out for one reason or another, and so that kind of highlighted to us that if we wanted to grow, we needed to take that serious. We needed to take hiring seriously and really think it through. And if we're taking hiring seriously, that goes to an even more fundamental question is, who do we want to bring in to this team and this company? And if we want them to fit, well, what is a company? What's the culture here? And so from a practicality standpoint, we kind of worked it backwards. And so now at this point, we've really thought about it. We've had meetings about it. That's why we did the personality traits. We've actually tried to emulate Netflix. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go over to Netflix?
There's a Netflix culture. I don't even know. It's probably on their website. Just talking about how they like their company culture to be, and that's kind of where we got some of our ideas. They give really good severance packages to their good employees because, again, they don't want to hire good. They don't want to save those spots for good employees. They want to save those, open those spots for great employees. So it just kind of goes back to just figuring out how we want our company to operate and really just being careful of who we select to be part of our team. We used to call our team our family, but again, with going back to the Netflix, they made a good point that in a family, you kind of have to just deal with people's weird, unconditional love. But we have to see this as like a growing company And so we need to change that mindset from family that we love all of these people that work with us. Yes, we love and care about each other, but we want to have a great team. And so if people don't work out, we just have to kind of be like Marco said, fire quickly and like realize maybe they aren't the best fit for us.
Well, the analogy is rather than a family, we're like a sports team. So in a family, people can suck, and it's
You
okay.
kind of just have to love them anyway.
Yeah, they still come to Thanksgiving and all the holiday stuff, and they're still accepted. Whereas in a sports team, if you're trying to be a high caliber team, somebody shooting for the championship, everybody has to pull their weight. Everybody has to put in the effort. There's no slackers. If you're a slacker, you're cut from the team and your spot's replaced. So going from the family mentality to a team mentality kind of puts in perspective what each person's role is and what they should be doing. And that was just one of the aspects that we got from Netflix.
And it's just about keeping everyone accountable. Like, I hope that if I slack in this company, even though I'm an owner, I hope that somebody calls me out and says, you didn't do your job right. Like, I want people to be very transparent in this company. I don't want people to be scared of dialogue or uncomfortable situations. We all just need to be very open in how we communicate with each other, just because we want to have a very effective team. So we had everyone read that document and talk about it, and I think it kind of just changed my mentality altogether with this company. Like, we want to go in the right direction, and so we have to really think about those things that we've been discussing and reading.
Have you guys read the book 5 Dysfunctions of Team?
No.
5 Dysfunctions of a Team. It's from, is it Patrick? I think Lencioni. And it's an excellent book, and it talks just about that. And it's actually was it a fable, I guess? And so it's a story about a team, and then how they have, you got to build trust, and then have conflict, and then make a decision. It's an excellent book. It's a quick, easy read, and I just actually bought it for our team, our leadership team here, to all read and go through to make sure that the meeting is a little bit more productive. And it's a great thing. I highly recommend it.
We'll look into it. Thank you.
I'll have to look on your show notes.
Yeah, that'll be on the show notes. That's I think it's 104, flippingjunkie.com/104. There are also going to be links to you guys' stuff, to your website, and anything else that you want to put on there. But to continue with this really quick, we only have a little bit longer to go. And, we focused on the hiring part of it, and I like that a lot because I think a lot of people struggle with that. And I think the biggest question that, if I were listening to this that I would have would be, you pay people based on commission, so there's no base salary. How does that work out? How do you guys structure that? Would you mind sharing?
So for our commissions, the way we basically have it structured is first we pay all outside people. So if there's an agent on the deal, another wholesaler, if there's any sort of fees associated with the transaction, all that gets paid out first. Then we're left with our remaining assignment fee. We pretty much do exclusively assignments. With the assignment fee that's left over, we have a set percentage that goes to the marketing side, which is how we pay our marketing systems director, the person that handles our VA, our CRMs, the marketing, all those aspects.
Is that a full-time job?
Well, no. He has another full-time job, but he's
on top of it. So he's actually the only person in our company that has a full-time job. And we're allowing that because he's very quick to respond, and we don't have any issues with him having another job.
You want to measure based on results, and he definitely is all over his results.
Yeah.
So, and we're trying to make it to where we're so consistent he can quit his full-time job. That's the goal with him.
Mm-hmm.
So a portion of that goes to him. That's a smaller percentage, and then the remainder we split 50-50 with our what we call acquisition partner, and then Hilco takes the other 50%. So it's just very simplistic. The acquisition partner focuses on getting the contract themselves. They do all the work. They also are the ones that sell the contract to the buyer that ultimately buys the property. Again, they do all the work. where Hilco comes in is we build the infrastructure to support them so that they can focus on getting the contracts and focus on finding the buyers. We handle everything else. We pay for the office space. We pay for leads, even though we encourage them to get their own leads.
We pay for the VA.
We pay for the virtual assistant. We pay for the CRM. We pay for everything. And not only that, we give them the full support. I mean, constantly they're talking to us and me and saying, what's the next step? How can we work in here? And we're always there giving them the next point of action to take.
But as well, I'm also the closing coordinator. So once they find a seller and they get the property contracted and all the other documents that we require filled out, I take over all the documentation. I check to make sure everything's correct on it so we don't have any issues. And then from there, will open title with our title company and basically follow up. I send them the earnest money. I get all the documentation, and then that gives them time to go find the buyer if they don't have one already. So I kind of take that off their plate. And anything that, like if the title is not clear for whatever reason, then I'll communicate whatever the title company needs to the acquisition partner to then get that information from the seller or the buyer, whatever's needed. I'm kind of like the middle person, just so they don't have to do that, because we've found that a lot of times the acquisition partners are so focused on getting their deals and working their leads that I'm just a very organized person. I kind of just prefer to do it my way because it'll get done quicker and it'll get done efficiently and correctly.
Well, you should have seen a personality test.
I can't stand when things are done incorrectly or partially filled out. I basically told our team members today, I said, this is how it's going to be. If I get documentation that's incorrect, I'm not opening title. So I highly recommend you do it right the first time so we don't upset the sellers or buyers having to do multiple signatures and signings and corrections.
Like I said, she keeps it real.
So yeah, I kind of take that off their plate too, because at first I wasn't acting as closing coordinator. And so the acquisition partner had to negotiate the lead, get the contract, do all the title work, and find a buyer. It's just a lot. I would rather they focus on continuing to get contracts and keep it going than worry about all this other stuff.
And that's probably what they want to do as typical types of salespeople.
And I want to do the closing because I know I'm going to do it right. So
a quick comment that I would make that's kind of like taking a step back and looking at it from a company and a business standpoint is I look at it as in phases, and we constantly are transitioning from phase to phase to phase, and even now we're transitioning. And we didn't initially have the closing coordinating position that Hilary now runs that department. Initially, it was the acquisition partner was the one that handled the title work, those type of things. But as we grew, we noticed that was something that we needed to segregate and allow the acquisition partner to focus on what they do well, but really honestly what generates income for them. And so we've slowly have been taking more and more responsibilities away from them to make them more and more efficient, to make the system overall more efficient. And as an example, right now we have the acquisition partner doing everything, finding the contracts with the seller, but also finding the contracts with the buyer. And our next phase that we're going to shift into is having a dedicated sales team. So we'll be hiring salespeople. So we'll have a team that just focuses on getting the contract with the seller, and eventually we have a team that focuses just on the buying and sales side. But you have to constantly be reflecting on what's working now and project into the future, a month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. What is the next necessary item that you need to be building towards, and then build a plan to be able to create what's needed for the company.
Yeah, smart. So how are you, so with the leads coming in and you got multiple people doing acquisitions, how are you dividing it up? Is it sort of a round robin where this lead goes this guy, the next one goes this guy, the next one goes this one, and then start over again? Or how are you divvying up who gets what?
So for when we hire somebody, we have them in the training process. We have all this attention we've dedicated to hiring. We've also spent a lot of time on training, building a system for training. And we keep our people in training until they've successfully closed 6 deals. Once they've closed 6 deals, and at that point, they've essentially graduated. Now, They operate with a lot of autonomy, but we are still very involved in keeping them on track and those type of things. When it comes to our paid leads that we've actually spent money on, those only go to the people that have graduated, that have proven that they can close deals, they know how to handle leads appropriately, so that we're not wasting money. And the way that works is first come, first serve. The reality is when it comes to leads, when people are calling in or reaching out to us, there's a short window to capture that lead and their attention. So rather than what I had done in the past was round robin, but that's focusing on the fairness of the people, when rather you need to be focusing on what's best for the lead itself. And doing round robin isn't necessarily the best for the lead, because a person might be unavailable for 6 hours that day, and that lead's not being worked properly. So it's first come, first serve. We do have it to where if an individual has got 3 leads in a row, then the next one will go to the other person, so that one person isn't dominating. However, the focus is on what is the best way to work the lead, and we build the system around that.
Plus, I think that it makes our acquisition people like hungry. It's like, oh no, I don't want to miss out on all the leads, so I want to be like really focused on getting them too. So it's kind of like a way of kind of first come, first serve, and it really incentivizes our people to work hard.
Friendly competition.
Yeah, friendly competition.
Yeah, it's good. Have you had a problem with anybody coming on and being a little bit slow to make the commissions, to make it make sense for them financially?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's another thing in the hiring process that we try and make clear to them, that they know what kind of world that they are jumping into, that in this in the reality of wholesaling, you're not going to get a contract right away. You're probably going to get a contract in 30, 45 days. And then even when you get that, there's a time to sell it, and then there's a time to close it. And
that's assuming everything goes perfectly smooth in the file. Like, that's assuming there's no issues with title or whatever,
So that's why it's so critical to find people that are willing to do whatever it takes, that really have those goals of wanting to be in real estate, wanting to become an investor. Because when times get rough and financially they are challenged, in multiple ways challenged, that they're still going to think creatively to try and make it work, that they're not going to give up and throw in the towel. I mean, for instance, one of our hires just went through a string of crazy bad luck. One of his closings, the house caught on fire
the day before.
2 days before closing.
Oh,
so
man.
he was
and he was new, and he had probably like 6 or 7, or I don't know. He was brand new, and every single deal fell through. He was so down, and then right before Christmas, he got a deal. It closed. He started to see the light, and I said, "But look, like, you're starting off in like the dump right now. Like, when you start getting your momentum and you start going, getting more and more and more." Like, this is just the story you're going to write in 10 years when you started, right? So in 10 years, you're going to look back and be like, I had to go through all this crap to get to where I am now. That's just like a great story. But yeah, that was hard to motivate him to keep going, because it wasn't anything he was doing wrong. It was literally just bad luck circumstance.
As another example, he contracted a house with a person that he had skip trace, who had the exact same name as the seller, even to the middle initial, but wasn't the seller. So
we contracted it with like a person who didn't even own the house.
Right. So it was like a ton of bad luck like this. Like, literally, I think I've had bad luck, but no, he got some major bad luck. But what really helped was, again, like I mentioned, he had that vision. He had what he wanted to accomplish. But there was an open dialogue, very frank with one another. He was very open with the situation, and we were also very understanding. When we bring people on from a training standpoint, they don't start off at that 50-50 split I mentioned. It's a build-up progression. So for us, knowing his situation, we accelerated him to the 50-50 split. We also did everything in our power to help him make it through this downslope.
We gave him a personal loan just to get him by, but we're not, okay, that doesn't mean we're going to do that for everybody. I mean, I'm not a bank, but
He was
like
already showing that he was going
he
to be
was already very dedicated. He's already worked hard. He's proven he can get contracts. These were just unfortunate circumstances on everyone else's part. So,
And we were investing in him
mhm.
because we knew that it was a long-term potential, and it's something you have to evaluate. Is this situation because of his inadequacies or his lack of effort? And the answer was no. So what can we do to help him get through this trial? The rough patch, so that he can see the tunnel or the light at the end of the tunnel and become successful, so that everybody wins.
And he's kind of past that point now, so we're on the upswing.
Now he's dangerous.
Now we're on the upswing
because he's built these habits of just like
persistent.
doing, So now that he's getting some good luck, now he's really turning up.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's hard at first, but we try and help as much as we can. But we're not a bank, so.
Well, this has been great. This has been great. Thank you so much, Hilary and Marco Romero, for being on the show. And I like the topic. I think it turned into a really good episode with new stuff that I don't think we've shared before on the podcast. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Yeah. Thank you for having us. We're excited to take part of it, and yeah, thank you very much.
Right. And if people listening out there want to get a hold of you guys, get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
Number one way is Facebook. So if you just go to the Facebook search bar, type in Hilco Homes, Hilco Homes. That'll take you directly to our business page. We put out a ton of content, a lot of free content. We're constantly trying to give value and help people that are wanting to get into the real estate realm, but specifically around wholesaling, because we're a wholesaling company. And so we really try and give out a lot of value and to share our experiences, our learning lessons, so that others can grow from that themselves.
Yeah, you can message us on Facebook and we'll respond.
Yep, we will.
Well, thank you so much. And I do recommend everybody go check that out. And then you said you do the live. It's Facebook Live, or is it just pre-recorded?
We do.
We do both.
Yeah, we do both. The Ask Wholesale show.
Ask Wholesale.
Yep, Ask Wholesale. That's every Friday we release it. That's pre-recorded because we edit it and make it a little fancier. But we also do a lot of Facebook Live stuff for sure. And that one, we actually take questions from online, Facebook, our audience, and answer them directly. So if you have questions, you can submit them there, and we'll cover them for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Melissa and I think, are going to be on that, right? We've got, I think we already have that scheduled, but all right, so great.
I've penciled you in 2 or 3 times that you don't even know about.
That's how it works. All right, so thank you guys so much, and have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one too.
All right, like I mentioned before, if you haven't checked out Lead Propeller Services and what we offer for investors that want a hands-off approach to lead generation online to supplement their leads that they're already getting for more deals, or to start getting more consistent leads and deals for your flipping business, go to leadpropeller.com and click on the services button on the navigation bar. You can also give us a call directly to Josh, who's the Director of Services here at Lead Propeller, at 210-999-5187. You guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.